Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the news. No, it's not the news. This is very, very exciting. Welcome to the annual general meeting of Katherine, to probably the weirdest annual general meeting we've ever held. If I just describe the scene, I'm here with our fantastic director and our amazing treasurer. And we have some incredibly hardworking members of staff in front of us as well, and a few trustees. And apart from that, a great big empty room. What we normally have at this time is an enormous crowd of friends and supporters, and we are missing you enormously. We're told there's at least 5 of you watching us, so that's very exciting. And we are looking forward to the next annual general meeting when, God willing, we will all be together again for our annual general meeting and party. We are missing the party bit, but we are really, really pleased to be presenting to you this evening. Are we recording this? Do we know? Okay, so this is being recorded for posterity as well. That's even more scary. So my name is Ben Thomas. I'm the chair of trustees, and it's a great pleasure to welcome you to this very odd meeting. We have a number of things to achieve. We would like this to be our official report. We would also like it to be a celebration of everything that the Katherine Low Settlement has achieved this year, and what a year it has been. We're going to hear more about that in a minute. We know that if you are out there somewhere watching this either this evening or later on, that you are with us in spirit. We're all undaunted by the challenges that have been thrown at us. In many ways, they brought us even closer together as a community, and we found ourselves so much at the heart of what has been such an important task of keeping the community together. So we're going to report, we're going to celebrate as well, and we'll go through some of the official stuff as well. I am told that if you're very clever, you know how to ask questions on YouTube while we are presenting to you. I have absolutely no idea how you do that, but if you're able to type in your questions into the comment section, there we go, there's a man who knows. We'll type them in as we go through. If anything crops up and you'd like to ask us questions, please do, and we've got a section at the end where we will try to answer them if any come in. I just have no idea out there at all, but I assume there is. We've got 10 people, we've doubled our audience. We've got 10 people watching us, fantastic. Lovely to see you all, and we're going to begin in our traditional fashion. I'm going to ask the Reverend Canon Simon Butler to begin with the settlement prayer.
Good evening. I thought it was going to be strictly and that Ben was going to start with his Paso Doble. But it isn't. It's always great to be here. Simon Butler, the Vicar of St Mary's, and it's my pleasure, and a trustee as well, my pleasure to come and lead us in prayer. You may be a praying type or you may not be a praying type. If you are a praying type, please join in. If you're not, think lovely thoughts for us and everyone associated. Let's pray. O Lord, without whom our labour is but lost, and with whom the weakest go forth as the mighty, be present to bless all the works of this settlement which are undertaken according to thy will. Grant unto each one of us a pure intention, patient faith, burning zeal, and perfect trust in thy guiding hand. Use us, O Lord, for the good of thy people and the service of thy kingdom, now and always. Amen.
Simon, thank you very much indeed. So we come on first to the official business of the evening, and I'm going to ask if there have been any apologies for absence, and the answer is there have been a lot because we didn't actually let you come to the party. So we've had various apologies for absence which have been noted. The first thing we have to do is to adopt the minutes of the 2019 AGM, 2020 AGM, which was held on Zoom. That was a strange meeting as well. And we're going to do that with a show of hands. If you'd like to read them, both the annual report and accounts and our review are available on our website as well. So all the information that we're going to discuss this evening is available on the website. Do please have a look at that. But could I please look to our hardworking members of staff for a show of hands to accept the minutes of the 2020 AGM. There are various hands going up in the room just now, so we'll take those as accepted. And without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Martin Alcock, who is our treasurer, for his report. Martin.
Thanks, Ben. Evening, everybody. Sorry, let me start that again. Great start. Hi, really pleased to be here. It's an absolute honour to be talking to you, the new treasurer. And before I kick off, I would just like to thank Nick Stopford, the previous treasurer, for all of his hard work. A really safe pair of hands over the years. Wish him and his family all the very best in life. I am a new treasurer, new to the role of treasury, but I'm not new to KLS. Actually, I've been a trustee for about 3 years or so, and prior to that 2 years I spent in the fantastic Love to Learn program as a learning mentor. So I've been really lucky to see some of the fantastic work this organisation does firsthand. So let me give you a bit of a quick flavour of the financial report for this year. This is the financial year to the 31st of March 2021. And see a copy that if you're in the room, you can take a copy away from you. If you're watching YouTube, you're very welcome to download a copy off the website, because they're an extraordinary set of numbers, actually. KLS generated £1 million, more than £1 million of income in that. And if you consider the backdrop and the challenges that we faced during that period, it's a phenomenal set of results. Behind that number is an extraordinarily Herculean effort from Aaron and team, his management team, in accessing new grant funds and raising additional funding. But it's also, I think, amazing generosity. New donors have come in huge numbers to give to KLS and to support the great work that this organisation does. And I think it's a real testament to KLS's reputation and the understanding of the really valuable work that's done in the community. And I would be remiss, you might even say it's an early dereliction of my duty as a treasurer if I didn't at this point say that if you too would like to become a donor, you can join this fantastic list of kind-hearted, generous, and very good-looking people, and donate and join the cause and help KLS to fulfil its mission and to carry out this fantastic work. You can find a link on the website again to do. So thankfully, those two big increases in grant income and in donations have more than offset some of the challenges around income from room bookings and office rental during those lockdown periods. But crucially, more crucially, that growth in income has allowed us to spend a lot more in delivering the really vital services. Spent nearly £800,000 in delivering those services. That's 10% more than we'd spent in the previous year, and that meant that money went on bringing in some really, really talented new members of the team, many of them sitting in. We expanded the range of services, and that funding was crucial in allowing us to do that. But also crucially, we spent some money on vital repairs and maintenance for this beautiful building. We have to remember to treat this beautiful building with the respect and look after it. So all in all, a very strong year. Looking ahead, we know there's challenges on the road ahead. The pandemic, when this pandemic is over, the community is going to need this organisation and the vital work it provides more than it ever has before. I think at the same time, we're already experiencing some of the challenges of accessing grant funding, and that competition is going to intensify, I think, because of all claims on money. And I think it will take time to rebuild the income streams from room bookings and rentals and things like that. But look, what's really comforting, I think, is that we started this financial year with a really healthy cash position. Again, that cash position increased on the previous year. That means that all of the projects are really well funded for the next 12 months. It means that we have a really good cushion, and that gives us real confidence to build on the great work. So that's all from me. There is a copy of the accounts, like I say, here and online, and you're very welcome to look at them, and Aaron and I would be delighted to answer any questions. But in the meantime, thanks for listening, and I'll hand back.
Martin, thank you very much indeed. And could I just reiterate Martin's thanks to all those who have stood by us through this most challenging of years and allowed us to continue the work, which has been more important this year perhaps than in any other year of our history, which is a long history. We have two official acts to carry out just now. First, we need to adopt the annual reports and accounts, which, as I say, are available on the website. Could I have a show of hands if everyone's happy to adopt them? Hands are going up all over the place. Fantastic. They are adopted. And if you'd like a jazzy and perhaps more informative version of our reports and accounts, Aaron and his team have brilliantly put them together as our annual review, and we would like to formally adopt those, and I commend them to you. It makes fantastic reading and is an incredible testament to the work that's going on, which Aaron is about to tell us about. Could I have a show of hands if you'd like to adopt our annual review for 2020-2021? Hands all over the place. Everyone's adopting them. Fantastic. Thank you very much indeed. We're going to hear from a very important person who's going to be telling us what's been going on for the last year. Handing over to our director, Erin Barber.
Thank you, Ben, and good evening, everybody. It's nice to see you all. Ben reminded us at the beginning of the pandemic to never waste a good crisis, and we certainly haven't. We're always trying to make the most of things at Katherine Low, seeking out the opportunity to make life better with local people here in Battersea. And the last 18 months truly have been a game changer, a period of phenomenal upheaval, worry and loss, alongside transformation, generosity and kindness. You will read in our glossy annual report of the many ways in which our fantastic team here of staff, volunteers and supporters have more than risen to the occasion and supported literally thousands of local people here and community organisations. Not just to get people through the crisis, but they've done so with dignity, respect and hope. And I cannot thank them enough. Please, would you give them a big hand if you're at home, and a pat on the back the next time you see them. Thank you. Let me just give you an example of one person that we've supported, and let's call him David. He lives on his own, like more than 50% of our elders, and he's in poor health with failing memory and has had to shield at home for the last year and a half, which has meant that he's physically declined over the last year, as have so many of our elders. Our volunteer called Andrew was his lifeline, picking up shopping, prescriptions and some art materials as David found his love of painting again. But most importantly, it was those regular telephone calls and those doorstep visits, checking in and catching up and sharing the load. It was just providing that support that he needed most to get through the crisis. Our members are always talking to us, giving us constant feedback, letting us know what they want, what they like, and importantly, what they don't want. This intensified over the pandemic as we continued to work ever more closely with them to provide the support that they needed. And as you know, we transformed our community services to creatively support people over the phone, online, through the post, and on the doorstep. And our services will continue to evolve as we work out the best way of blending our online and in-person support for everyone. Now, it became obvious pretty early on that we could only get through the crisis if we were to do so in partnership, working together with others in the community. And I want to say a big thank you to all of our partners for stepping up and supporting Battersea with us, like the Battersea Coronavirus Angels. Thank you very much, Simon, his brainchild. But it was the 450 odd volunteers coming together to support 700 local people. Or the Wandsworth Digital Partnership of more than 70 organisations providing more than 6,000 laptops, data and IT skills training. Or the many food provider groups that sprung up feeding and supporting literally tens of thousands of local residents. Or Lavender Hill Clothing Company very generously donated more than 20,000 face masks within the community. Or the Battersea Alliance, in partnership with the Big Local and the Winstanley joint venture, we distributed over £100,000 to local community groups to support local residents through the pandemic. And the list of partnerships and the amazing work in Battersea goes on. Do have a read in our annual report. So looking ahead to this year and next, we're very much focusing on reconnecting with our members and supporting their recovery from the effects of the pandemic. Everyone has told us that they need a period of recovery, of healing, of commemoration for those that we've lost, as well as celebration and the joy of being back together again. And together we can. Your continued support through what has been another tough year and is getting worse by the moment would be very much appreciated. What with the end of furlough, cuts to universal credit today, rising fuel and food costs, and tax increases on the horizon, we really do need your help. And you could do this by coming and volunteering with us, making a regular donation. It's very easy to do on our website. Double your donation at Christmas in early December. You could leave a gift in your will. You could get your trainers on for our Spring Steps walk in March of next year, or you could introduce a friend or the business that you worked for to us. Or you could simply come in and have a cup of tea with us and catch up. It would be lovely to see you. I want to finish by saying a very big thank you to each and every one of you who make Katherine Low absolutely fantastic. So thank you very much, everybody, and I look forward to seeing you very soon.
Aaron, thank you. It is really, really strange having that report be silent. Yeah, let's give him a round of applause. Well done, everyone. That's it. There we go. It's an enormous audience. So that was a short roundup, which belies an enormous amount of work on behalf of a huge number of people. And thank you for your report, Aaron. We come to the point of the meeting. We need to re-elect some of our trustees. So every year, a proportion of our trustees are required to step down, so that we can then, we hope, re-elect them. But as you've heard from Martin, one of our trustees, Nick Stopford, who's been the treasurer for since 2015 for the last 6 years, has now moved abroad and very sadly has had to step down from being a trustee. We wish him all the very best. If he's watching out there, thank you, Nick, for everything that you've done to hold us together throughout that time. You've always been incredibly understated in your work, and we're really, really grateful to the way that you have kept such an eye on the detail and kept us in such good health. So Nick is not standing for re-election, but I'm delighted to say that Martin is standing for re-election. Martin Alcock and also Sarah Swash, who I know is out there and is also watching us, is also standing for re-election. And I strongly commend the fact that we should re-elect them. So can I have a show of hands to say we would like to re-elect them? Would anyone not like to re-elect? No, that's what saying yes. We would love to carry on with our trustees. Martin, you carry on in the job. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Now, before we hear from some of our fantastic teams, I've got two incredibly important pieces of business to carry out, both for very, very long-serving people. Today marks the 30th consecutive year for which Tracy Frostick has almost single-handedly, but with a lot of help from her friends, held Katherine Low Settlement together. Tracy, it's not possible to encapsulate in a few sentences what those 30 years mean. Wait for it. No, we're going to get her up here in just a second. This is the build-up. This is the build-up. What there should be at this point, Tracy, and I hope you can hear them cheering across Battersea and throughout London, are crowds and crowds of people who could not be more grateful. And there we go. We're going to put Tracy in full shot. Here she is. Fantastic. So we are going to wait properly until we've got crowds full of people. Please sit down. And the whole community, but I know that you can feel them sort of coming down the airwaves to say thank you so much for everything that you've done to hold us together. You are, in many ways, Katherine Low Settlement, and everybody knows that. You are the one person that absolutely everybody is in contact with, and you live and breathe this place, and it would not be KLS without you. So we would just like to say thank you so much for the last 30 years, and here's to the next 30. And Aaron's got a bunch of flowers to give you, and we're going to give you a huge round of applause. You can. Would you like to? Would you like to? All right, we won't keep up there the whole time. Tracy, we're looking forward to a really good opportunity to do that, with the whole community, but I hope you feel the love coming down the airwaves. The second piece of business is for somebody who has been committed to Katherine Low Settlement for even longer than Tracy, which is really quite something to say. And that is our president, John Waits, who has been involved with KLS for more than half a century. He is our president at the moment. And after several attempts to step down as president, he has finally said, please could he be released from the presidency at this AGM. And we very reluctantly agreed that his formal connection with KLS will come to an end at this point. John and I spoke recently. I asked him if he would just jot down some words to describe his connection with KLS and just to give us an idea about how far back that connection goes. And I'm just going to read out what he sent me. It's slightly reluctantly, but he did finally agree to let us know about his involvement with KLS, and it's absolutely fascinating. It's a short piece, and it belies an enormous commitment to this place. And John said this: I first became involved in the Katherine Low Settlement when I was an article clerk at the solicitors Oswald Hickson Collier and Co. My principal, John Payne, was very keen that the youngsters at the firm should have some broader experience. I used to come down to the settlement and act as what was then called a poor man's lawyer. And he said he's not sure if that's because being the lawyer was poor, but anyway. We worked alongside the Citizens Advice Bureau, which was housed at Katherine Low. Many years later, John Payne left a substantial legacy to the settlement in his will. I was invited to join the committee and served on it until we left for France in 1972. When I returned to England after my 5-year stint in France, I rejoined the committee. Eventually, I was invited to become the chairman and chaired the committee for about 15 years. When I first got to know the settlement, it was run by the warden, Jack Davis. It had the youth club and worked with older people. There were residents who contributed to the running of the settlement. It gradually developed into a community action centre, much influenced by Sarah Rackham. Finance was always a problem, and we had to sell the Baird Hall and even the grand piano. But the quality of the work was maintained and recognised, and many trusts and foundations supported its work alongside the Waits Foundation. We were also very grateful to Francis Holland School for its support, now joined by Thomas's. I've been delighted to see the transformation of the settlement into a powerful community hub. The strength of Aaron's leadership, along with the committee, was demonstrated by the extraordinary work done during the recent pandemic restrictions. I've been associated with the settlement for more than 50 years and have never seen it better placed in its mission to strengthen the local community. It's a few short paragraphs. It belies a lifetime of commitment to this place. And John, I hope you're out there, and I hope you understand how deeply felt our gratitude is to you for that tremendous commitment that you've shown to this place for more than half a century. And we just love to express our thanks with another huge round of applause from this enormous crowd. I'm very pleased to say that our Vice President, Margaret Robson, who was the chair when I came on as a trustee, has agreed to step into John's significant shoes, and Margaret becomes our President from this AGM onwards. So many congratulations to Margaret. Thank you to her for taking on that role, and we're so pleased that her very long connection with KLS will continue in that formal role as President as well. Wow, I'm just going to pause for a second because those are such huge commitments. It's quite humbling having Tracy in the crowd and also hearing from John and knowing that Margaret continues to remain committed. Those are three people who have been such a part of this place and who represent the kind of commitment that this place inspires in so many individuals. But we come now to perhaps the most important part of the evening, which is to hear from our teams and to have an update of the year that they have had and what a year it's been. Aaron.
So thank you very much, Ben. And thank you once again, Tracy, and to John, and to Margaret, and to the whole team, in fact. As you know, Katherine Low is all about the people. It's all about the work that we do and the support that we work alongside people within Battersea. And I'd just like to hear from our three frontline teams, and I'm looking at some of them here today. We're going to kick off with the elders team. And my colleague Sarah is going to tell us a little bit about what's happened over the last year or so.
Thank you, Aaron. So I'm going to read from some notes, so I hope that's okay. But as always, we're driven by the difference we wish to make to the lives of our elders, and we make note of that in the annual review. But we wanted to say that during this time, lockdown was very difficult for older people, as it was for all of us. 54% of our members told us this year that they had no one else but our team to support them. And so it's clear that our work became more important than ever. During this time, we did careful planning using the My Loved One measure. So whatever we did to support people was to ensure that we thought of how we would want our own loved ones treated. So whichever part of lockdown or unlocking of lockdown we were doing, we try to keep that measure in mind to make the best outcomes possible for our elders. We had many more of our elders received one-to-one work than ever before as their needs increased during this time. We offered a lot of emotional support, but also practical, including items such as warm clothing, such as coats, jumpers, underwear, socks and tights, as people had limited access to these. Support in accessing increased care plans as their needs increased, as they could no longer access community services such as ours. One member was supported to have their bedroom moved into their living room by the team, as they could no longer manage the stairs and there was no one else that could provide this support. We supported members to get food parcels, organised urgent gas checks, urgent mental health support at times, and we also provided for support for serious safeguarding needs. So that's some of the kind of more serious stuff that we did, but we also did lots of fun things as well. We had new activities, including a film club. We have the Age Well Zoom sessions, which started with the 12 Zooms of Christmas, and our new worker, Kerry, who provided much fun for elders during this Christmas season when they were in lockdown. This then carried on into regular Zoom sessions, including Zoom exercise, intergenerational work, National Trust online art sessions, and Talk Wandsworth online wellbeing sessions. Sorry, that was a bit of a tongue twister. We created a phone friends befriending service where we supported many of our elders. The elders team, including volunteers, had made over nearly 6,000 calls within that year. Some people getting calls every day, depending on their need, and including weekends and Christmas Day. We encouraged peer support within our membership friend groups when we could, so they swapped numbers and called each other where permission was given. We ensured members got handmade cards to show the community were thinking about them, and these were kindly donated through our partnership services with France and Holland School, Thomas's, Providence House and Dorrington PLC, who organised Christmas gifts, and we also provided food hampers. We developed a pilot Tech Up Seniors programme as we realised in response to COVID-19 there's an increased number of people that could not go digital, so we had to support them to get the ability to do that. We recruited digital champion volunteers who provided doorstep visits and one-to-one support. We gave Amazon Fire tablets out and trained where necessary. The team supported elders to maintain their mobility during lockdown. So obviously people not coming into the centre using our services, such as exercise classes, people become very less mobile, stiffer in their movements. So we did exercise via Zoom session. We did exercise sessions loaded as private groups onto YouTube. We created DVDs that we hand delivered to members and then called them regularly to ensure that they were taking part as much as possible. We created a new Parkinson's dance DVD for people with neurological issues. Tutors called class members as often as possible to engage with them. When we could exercise outside, some of our classes happened in Fred Wells Gardens, and we also started community walks in Battersea Park, including a well-attended men's walk. We provided activity packs, support gifts to isolated members to keep them mentally active. Some started new hobbies, as Erin had mentioned, the art classes, the art sessions. When we could see people, we started doing outings to Battersea Park. We drove people to Richmond Park. We went to McDonald's at the members' requests because they wanted to have a McFlurry, quite basically. Who doesn't? And we went to Wimbledon Common. We created a new newsletter so that we could, a paper version of a newsletter so that we could keep members up to date with the common ongoing changes. We organised vaccine talks so that we can explain to staff, volunteers and our members what was going on. And we did a lot of partnership work, as mentioned before, with Kambala Cares, who provided meals, Battersea COVID Angels, Wandsworth Food Bank, Community Transport and Wandsworth Health and Social Care and Social Prescribing teams. And I have an example of the amazing casework that the team do. We have a gentleman called Nigel who's 81 with serious neurological conditions. He lives alone in unsuitable accommodation with very little family contact. He cannot get out of the house unaided and cannot communicate very easily. We took him for an outing to the park, which was his first time out of his house in 18 months. We then took him to the seaside where he had fish and chips and a lovely afternoon. A worker has attended specialist appointments to ensure his ongoing condition is monitored and that he could be advocated for. We found that because of his lack of communication, because of his illness, he wasn't really being listened to or heard. So we was able to get a social worker assessment to increase his care package, a speech and language therapist to arrange a communication board so that we can communicate with him better as well, a wheelchair assessment to help him get out and about, although he still cannot get out the flat without help, and helped him apply for suitable housing. We also talked to him about the seriousness of his condition and helped him to get to prepare for the future with a palliative community care assessment for his ongoing needs. We also helped him to look at his car. A worker, he was missing his car, he can't drive anymore and it's in storage. So a worker took him along just so that he could see the car. We have facilitated a closer relationship development with his family and liaised with his paid carer on his physical needs day to day. So that's just an example of one person, and a lot more of that type of work happened during lockdown and as we move out of lockdown. He received Christmas gifts, and a volunteer who understood him, even though he has communication needs, telephoned him regularly during lockdown to ensure that he had someone to converse with. We've had some wonderful quotes from people that are in the handbook, so are in the review. So I won't mention any more here. But basically, we have seen during lockdown, unfortunately, a lot of people's, although we've tried very hard, their physical activity, fitness levels, etc., have started to decrease. So as we come back into service now, we are working hard to ensure that we do help them to improve their mobility again, and looking forward into new social clubs and groups that we're now developing. So thank you very much for that brief overview, the chance to give you that brief overview. And one of our volunteers, Adalberto, who's now a worker for the team, but that's for next year's annual review, is here to tell us about volunteering. Is that okay? So Adalberto.
Hello everybody, my name is Adalberto. I'm going to do like a free speech. I've been volunteering for KLS since 2018 when I started at the Royal College of Art, and my thesis project was about an intergenerational work. So I wanted to know more about how older people would live here in London and what their needs. So I started coming here, bus escorting, the lunch club, and then when we hopped into the lockdown, I started doing the phone calls. And towards the end of the year, when we started doing the Zoom sessions, I was leading the drawing class. So we created a creative space for them to meet each other, but also to have fun and be creative. So that's it. You're welcome.
Now I'm going to invite our ESOL or our English team up to tell us a bit about what they've been up to.
Niman Fatma Razmada class Dave Kaisad the Dave that's working English Dave that's the day or Naposhalim Kamal Mamida.
waxaan ka imaaday Soomaaliya waxaan halka u imaaday inaan wax ku barto luqadda aan ka barto sidaas darteed meeshaan ku raadiyay KLS.
السلام عليكم مقعي سعدي واي كي waxaan mid iskuulkan inaan wax ka barto ما شاء الله وحوينا كبرتي وسودوية وحفيعنا كبرت الحمد لله شكر الله ما أنت ماشى جوي شل ماشى جوي الفرواية الحمد لله شكر الله كيس thank you.
السلام عليكم سرقية جولية المعلومات بعض دوت درسنا إنجليزي منادزة غير مشكلات المنتج إنجليزي منادزة وزدوت مغرزو بختو إنجليزي زاكو مدير خدتي شردو درسنا لبعي دير مينا تسرقبي.
waxaan jeclahay inaan imaado KLS sababtoo ah waxaan rabaa inaan xoojiyo ingiriiskayga.
Hola, mi nombre es Daniel, soy de España. Me gusta estudiar inglés en KLS porque las clases son muy buenas y mis compañeros y profesores muy simpáticos.
Hi, galab wanaagsan magacayga waxaa la dhahaa Bilan waxaan ka mid ahay ardayda imaado KLS ka barato runtii aad iyo aad KLS noo caawisay anaga iyo ilmaheena oo wax ku baranay wax walba oo maaragtay u baahanaan loo qabtaa dhinaca Englishkan aadan nala caawiyaa aad iyo aadaan ugu faraxsanahay. Thank you KLS.
السلام عليكم، أنا اسمي عفاف، أنا بدرس في KLS، بدرس اللغة الإنجليزية. الحمد لله أنا مبسوطة جدا من كالس، ساعدوني كتير في إني يعني أقدر أمشي في اللغة بتاعتي الإنجليزية، والحمد لله يعني أنا وصلت ليفل 1 الحين، ومبسوطة من الستاف اللي شغال في كالس، هم بيساعدوني كتير في كل حاجة أنا بحتاج ليها. شكرا.
Bonjour, bonsoir, je m'appelle Khadija. Je viens à KSL aujourd'hui pour apprendre à parler l'anglais et j'ai rencontré beaucoup de différents backgrounds, beaucoup de communautés qui m'ont aidé à écrire, à lire, à être confident et tout. Et vraiment, ça m'aide beaucoup. Merci.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. مقعي سمير واي and KLS إماضة نحاول إماضة إنجليش إنا قرتين كيسة كإبرة فريو محكلته إماضة كراشكا مش إمه الوهاية سو وقتي أنا قبل محكو برتو اللي هي الوهاية أي إماضة آدي يوم هلا.
Okay, so a very big apology for all the beeping in the background. That's what we've been having to deal with in KLS for the last 3 years. It's all the building in the background, so apologies. A little fact I looked up today, 62% of UK citizens only speak one language. And I don't know about any of you, but I didn't understand 99% of what was said there. So that's a little insight into what day-to-day life is like for our students. Every interaction they have outside of KLS is fraught with the possibility that they might not understand or be understood. So it's something when you learn to be a teacher, you first expose yourself to what another language is like, and it's just a good reminder of what people who don't speak English as their first language have to deal with when they get here, because if you think 62% of us don't speak another language, we're expecting anybody who doesn't speak another language, it doesn't speak English, to interact with us in English. Over the past 18 months, we've managed to keep all of our ESOL provision open. We've had to be creative at times, but thanks to the fabulous ESOL team, Faith, Judith and Isla, and our equally amazing volunteers, who I can't name because there's so many of them, we managed to keep the students motivated. And they rose to the challenge. They rapidly learned how to access online classes, often with their children sitting beside them or climbing all over them, but they continued their learning. They motivated us to carry on. Many of them took and passed exams in the summer, and we're really proud of them. And they are proud to be members of KLS. And here they are again.
My name is Fatima. I come from Afghanistan. I come in English class, very nice English speaking, a very nice teacher.
My name is Berlin. I come from Somalia. And I come from Somalia. I go to school KLS because I speak English language.
Hello, my name is Adia. I like the KLS English class. My teacher Judith, Amanda, everything you help me, everything my children is coming KLS. Thank you, KLS.
My teacher Guido, English speak working.
I like to come to KLS because I want to improve my English.
Hello, my name is Daniel. I'm from Spain. I like to study English in KLS because the classes are very good. And my school masters and teachers are very nice.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Sabila Ngeti. I'm one of the students in KLS. And to learn English, I did English, I did maths, and I'm still doing English and maths. Even my children, they come and love to learn. They used to do the homework club, everything. But thank you very much, KLS, to help us.
Hi, my name is Afaf. I'm learning in KLS. I'm learning English. I'm very happy to enjoy the KLS to improve my English. And I like all of the staff in KLS because they're helping me a lot in different things. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Khadija Diaw Koulibaly. I love to come to KLS to improve my speaking and listening, and I find people who help me to do that too. And thank you so much, KSL.
Hello, my name is Samira. I came to KLS to improve my English writing and grammar, and also I like to come because they look after my daughter on the crash, so I have time to learn. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much to the team, and it really does bring it to life. The three of us up here can't actually see the video, but I recognise lots of their voices, so it's very nice just to hear them. And my God, their English is so good. Well done, team. I want to talk also a little bit about our Love to Learn team. Unfortunately, due to COVID, being pinged, sick children, and various other malaises, the team are not able to join us. But I want to just tell you a little bit about what our Love to Learn education team has been up to. Again, it's been another phenomenal year for them, supporting more than 200 young people from refugee backgrounds and unaccompanied minors, as well as their parents and carers. The programme has been running now for 17 years, and it's all about supporting young people to get ahead in their education, which is absolutely critical. And it roughly breaks down into 2 programs of work, all of the practical homework clubs, GCSE study groups, a new youth club that we've set up, a program of learning mentors, so local residents supporting young people to improve with their homework and their education. And this is all underpinned by the casework and the family support and the parenting workshops that we deliver as well. One area that we've really looked at, and particularly with the ESOL, the English team, is around how do we progress and move young people onwards and upwards, and really kind of looking ahead to them, to their kind of adult life and their working life. What careers can they have rather than any old job? And so very much working with young people from primary into secondary, and then as they move into college and into university and then into the world of work. We've really this year, and particularly during the summer term, have developed our program for 16 to 21-year-olds, and really looking at 2 things: their employability and some of the choices that they make now that will then determine and really help them progress into a career. And the second, looking at the kind of their health and well-being, which, as we've heard before, has been such a critical part of the support that we've needed to provide for all of our members over the last year and a half. And the summer was a particularly good way of doing that, and thank you very much to everybody that supported our summer program. Again, we had more than 100 young people and their families supporting them for 4 weeks, 5 days of activity, 2 activities every day, trying to get them outside, lots of fresh air with sport and arts and music, and a little bit inside with cooking, but also the opportunity for them to get together and meet their friends and talk about the issues and some of the challenges, but also the delights of being at home as well. I just wanted to give you one example, again, as we've heard from others, of someone that we've worked with, and again, I'm going to call him Ahmed. He arrived in 2019, and he'd been so badly beaten in Libya by his people traffickers that he'd actually gone deaf in one ear. And because of his hearing difficulties and the trauma that he was experiencing, he really was struggling at school. And he had no English as well. So Mary, one of our Love to Learn team, is based in the school in Southfields, and she's been working with him intensely over the last couple of years. She speaks Tigrinya and therefore was able to build the rapport and a really good trusting relationship with him. And she picked up on the fact that he actually probably had learning difficulties too, something that the teachers in the school had not been able to pick up. And so through her intervention, she was able to get him called an education care plan, and really needed him to get, that enabled him to get the support that he really needed. Running alongside this was all his worries and stresses about his immigration status as he was applying for. And again, through a 2-year period, Mary was able to support him, find an immigration solicitor, and kind of keep the pressure on the Home Office. And we heard earlier in the year that he'd actually been granted refugee status, which was a tremendous success. And we continue to work with us and many young people over the year and the years to come. So a big thank you to the Love to Learn team, a big thank you to the Soul team, a very big thank you to the Elders team, and a very big thank you to you and all of our supporters, staff, volunteers, and people that make this happen. Ben, I'm going to hand back to you.
Thank you so much. It's just wonderful to hear from our members, but also can I to reiterate, is that okay? Still working? Sort the microphones. Is that one working? How's that? All good? Just to reiterate those thanks to our teams and our volunteers as well. It's been a really, just to state the obvious, it's been a really hard 18 months for so many people. We began to meet monthly on Zoom with our team leaders. Well, you were meeting weekly, and then as trustees we were meeting monthly, and it's hard to pay full tribute to the resilience that's been shown across the board, but also to what we heard there, the creativity and the imagination of our team leaders and of those volunteers, which has meant that our programs have not only survived through lockdown, but have actually flourished and found new ways to grow as well, and to reach people at a time when that help was so badly needed. So it's impossible to do it full justice on an evening like this in this strange half-empty room whilst talking to YouTube as well. But I hope you understand how much we just admire and respect everything that you've achieved throughout this time, and we so look forward to meeting each other again in 3D. It's so lovely to see you all in 3D, because I've seen you in 2D for such a long time, but it's great to meet you in person properly. We are going to wrap up shortly, but at this point I'm just going to look to our amazing technical team to see if we've had any questions that have come in through the comments section. Looking to Tony, who as ever is holding everything together, literally. Fantastic.
Okay, so Margaret Lipsey says, I am deeply honoured to be asked to become president and will look forward to supporting KLS in its works in the community and will help in any way that you can.
Margaret, that is fantastic. Thank you. We've got it in writing that you're going to help in any way. I'm really looking forward to working with you again. As I say, you were my chair when I joined as a trustee. So good to know that you're out there, and thank you so much for joining us this evening and for that fantastic comment, and indeed for agreeing to be our next president. Thank you so much, and we're all sending you lots of KLS love down the wires as well. More comments.
We have our one and only question so far, which is from John Bowis, I think it's pronounced. Do we have a role, or are we intending to have a role in regards to the current arrivals in our country from Afghanistan and Hong Kong?
It's a fantastic question, which we've certainly discussed, and I'm going to hand over to our director.
The simple answer is yes. We do already work with a number of Afghan refugees, and in fact we held a meeting last week with a dozen other charities, community groups, faith groups who are also supporting refugees within the local community. We do have a game plan. We actually do a lot of work already, from providing shelter and clothes and food right through to immigration support, education, advice, and many other things. So there is a plan in place, and I look forward to picking that up with you, John, in due course.
Fantastic, and thank you very much indeed for contributing to our question section. That was it. Marvellous. If you're watching this at a later date and you're not watching it live, I think I'll probably just wrap up by saying, if you've not visited KLS, do please come and see us. We run a very open house our building is now open. It's fantastic to be able to say we are almost. And we'd love you to drop in. It's a fantastic, friendly place to be. And if you don't know enough about us yet, come and find out more. And we'd love to see you here. Looking to my director to see if there's anything else. But otherwise, I'm going to wrap up our meeting, except for Simon, who's got.
I wasn't going to say anything, but in all of these thanks, the trustees, I'm sure, will want to thank, and you will want to thank Ben Thomas for his leadership of the board. It's always a thankless task to be the chair of a board. I do it in another role myself, so I know what it's like. But Ben works in a school where the one rule is be kind, and he leads us with kindness and gentleness and thoughtfulness. That is the characteristic of him and the ethos he brings to the charity. So on your behalf, I'd like to thank Ben for all his work as well.
Thank you, Simon. That was extremely kind of you. Right, well, I was going to wrap up with some thanks. So there's an awful lot of thanks going around, but so there should be, because KLS, our symbol is a heart, and that sense of kindness and love comes from every single one of us, and I hope that it's something that you all experience when you're either in the building or involved with the work that we're doing. You've had a snapshot of it this evening, and I just would like to wrap up by saying an enormous thanks to our presidents, to our trustees who give so much of their time to keep the wheels turning and to make sure that we're fulfilling our role in governance of the charity, to Erin, because of whom we are incredibly blessed, and we've said it many, many times, we are very fortunate in our director, who has been extraordinarily magnificent in keeping the team motivated and together throughout the most challenging periods. And I know he's squirming as much as I was squirming when Simon was talking, but his resilience, his personal resilience and his commitment to this place has been extraordinary and has shone through. To all of our members of staff, and thank you so much for being here this evening. This would have been even more strange even if we were talking to a bunch of empty chairs, but thank you to the team, to all of the volunteers who support you, to our donors who've made it all possible. But all of those people come together in order to support our members, and without our members, we would be nothing at all. This place exists for you, and I hope that throughout this year, however difficult it's been, you found a place here that is a place of hope, of kindness, of love, and of support. And that's the mission that we will carry on through into the year ahead of us. So on that note, thank you very, very, very much for joining us this evening. This is now available on YouTube, so you can watch it again anytime you feel like. So I'm sure we're going to make it into sort of the greatest hits of YouTube. I feel very confident it'll go straight up the rankings. Thanks for joining us at our AGM. We really, really hope to see you at our AGM 2022 in a crowded room with lots of food and lots of drink and lots of laughter and lots of fun. And so we're going to hold that thought. But just for now, can I say thank you so much to those of you who've been able to make it, and everybody out there. All the best, look after yourselves, and we'll see you very soon. Thank you very much.